because I remember the conversation we were talking about college and stuff like that. And I'm not saying that I'm against college because I have some degrees, and so does Regis. Now my stuff was paid for through scholarships, so I'm pretty happy about that. But as far as Regis is concerned, he graduated top of his class. He had a couple degrees himself. He graduated top of his class, and them student loans is no joke. They want you to pay them $600 a month for them student loans. They don't care nothing about what you got going on.
That's a car payment. A brand new car payment.
How about he got his car brand new, and his car payment is nowhere near that amount?
No,
not even. It's less than half of that. So I digress. But it was a man that went to K-State that said college is a scam. He was a 4.0 student. Dropped out. He was going to K-State, which is a college here, Kansas State. And he dropped out his freshman year. He was going to school to be an architect, and he said it was a scam. He said it was just a decision that he made because he said, to get where he wanted to get in life, if he went to college, he would be almost 40 years old by the time he finished and heavily in debt.
Yep.
He was like, and on his own, he felt like for him, he said, if it's the best decision for you, do what's best for you. He was like, but I was going to K-State top of my class, and it just wasn't a good decision for me because I could make more money online, and everything that they were teaching me in class, all these extracurricular activities and classes that they make you take, you don't even need to be in the profession that you're trying to be into. He was like, he said, I watch YouTube videos, and I learned more in the YouTube videos about what I need to do in my field, in my career, versus being in college, taking all these gym classes and college classes and all that. So he was like, some people, they feel like that's for them, that do them, but don't be upset with people that feel like college is not for them.
And that's part of the reason why I never went to college. Because it's like, I want to be, because I was looking to go back to school to get my bachelor's in business administration.
Mm-hmm.
I was considering it.
Okay.
I've always been pretty goddamn smart with all the white man's college. But I was just considering because I thought it might help me in my business practices. And this was like a few years ago. And I kind of started looking into stuff, and it's like, you gotta take all these extra bullshit ass courses that have nothing to do with your major just so they can charge you extra money for these extra classes.
Yep.
So it's kind of like you being a doctor. You got to go through like 4 years of regular college.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have to do, I think, another 4 years. No, I think you got to do like 2 years of pre-med.
And then post-grad.
Right. You got to do like 2 years of pre-med. And then you got to figure out what area of doctor stuff that you're going in, like veterinarian, or you're going to be a cardiologist or whatever. And then you got like another 2 years of that, plus like another 2 years of residency. So by the time you get out of college just to be a doctor, you're well over $100,000 in debt.
Oh no, you're about a year's salary, if not more, because, if you're going to school to get a doctorate, just say like, for instance, for a doctorate in pharmacy, that's 8 years of school. That's anywhere between 6 to 8 years of school. And a lot of people will work part-time to get those clinical hours in to try to cut down like 2 years, but it's still a lot of schooling. It's still a lot, and you about $150,000 to $200,000 in debt. And a lot of people will initially like try to stay with their family and stuff, to kind of pay off that student loan debt if you have that type of family. But let's just be honest, Most people don't have that luxury.
No. And you know what pisses me off? First of all, they're overcharging you.
Of course.
Because now you can go to Cuba, and as long as you're of African descent, you can go to Cuba and go to doctor school for free. Cuba has one of the greatest healthcare schools in the world.
If you're in Germany, you can go to school, I think it's 2 to 4 years. You can go 2 to 4 years for free as well. And this place is here. It's states here. It's very few, but it's a couple states here. I think New York may be one where you can go to school for 2 years, at least get your associate's or bachelor's for free. Yeah.
But then it's like, on a whole other side note, but sort of pertaining to the college aspect of how crooked they are. Look at college athletes. Do you know how many millions of dollars college athletes bring in?
Yeah, and how much money they're not making.
Which is zero. But they had a problem with LeVar Ball starting his own league. Because that's eating their profits. Exactly. Like, I read a link, or I seen a video or something somebody did talking about how much some of these college coaches are getting paid. Man, do you know some of these college coaches are getting paid $100,000, $200,000, $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 as a base salary? That's not including, like, if you win a championship or something like this, you know, you get like an extra certain amount of money in the coach's account. Like, I think that's absurd. The reason why are these coaches getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars? For what? So you can keep the Negroes on the field? So you can keep the Negroes on the court? Some coaches that
pay $7 million a year.
Who?
It's some of them that get paid millions.
Yeah, I know.
There's one guy named Nick Saban.
Yeah, Nick Saban.
He's at the top. Yep, he makes $7,087,481.
Isn't he?
And that's per season.
Coach for LSU Tigers, Nick Saban.
It doesn't say, but I'll tell you this. Hold up. He coached Alabama Crimson Tide.
Okay. Right. I got you.
Now, Jim Harbaugh, the head coach in Michigan, in his first year, he made $7,000,000.
So I'm sorry, y'all. I completely underestimated the numbers. We're in the millions. And that's not in
some make 10.
The donations and stuff that alumni give.
How about the one in Kansas? He makes $4.94 million
per year.
Yep. Florida 5.15, Texas 5.16, Ohio 5.86. They did the top list of 10. Oklahoma 5.86 million, Kentucky 6.88. Yep. Then the one that's at the top is Alabama, 7.99 million.
Wow. Right.
So we definitely underestimate that joint.
Yeah. But still, that's way too much money to run a professional football program. And they say it's semi-pro, but it's really not. It's a professional football program. All they do, they're literally training you to get ready for the next platform.
And you
That's
ain't
their
guaranteed.
job. They're training you to get ready for the NFL Combine or the NBA Draft. That's what they're training you to do.
Well, you ain't even guaranteed to make it.
Not even guaranteed to make it, but they're literally training you to go do that.
And you stuck with all that debt while they making millions of dollars per season and can't give you no money to help you pay off that debt.
They can, they just won't. Well, they're student athletes, and we believe that student comes first. Okay.
You sure about that, homie? The millions come first. That's what it look like.
Yeah, well, you know. But it's mostly us that play professional sports.
That's true.
That's why. But debt certificates, is it worth the money and time invested in it? Should we go to college? What benefits will we get if we go to college? Rebecca, as a college graduate, please speak to that.
Well, I'll just say for me, college is not something that was necessarily talked about in my house. I didn't have a household where people talked about the importance of school and stuff like that. I will be honest with you. I was the first one to graduate high school matter of fact, I'm the only one that graduated high school out of all my mother's children and out of all my aunt's children. I am the only one that went to high school, that graduated high school. And nobody had been to college yet that I knew of, so I wanted to go because nobody else went. I will be honest with you, I made a lot of friends in college. Was it beneficial? No. Everything that I know and learned was done outside of college. It just wasn't beneficial for me. On a friend aspect, yes. In terms of like, oh, you know, I was on certain boards, I don't know, SGA and all that wonderful stuff, yada yada. And it's just something that wasn't beneficial to me because after college, they don't really care because they don't care. Like some people have like employment assistance programs. They don't really care. They don't really care, in my opinion. So was it beneficial for me? No. It just wasn't.
So is it worth the money and time invested in it?
Hell no. Hell no. Hell no. So what, you can have this certificate, this piece of paper that says you're certified, do this. Let me explain something to you. Most of the people who have those certificates still don't know how to do the job as somebody who's done OJT without their certificate and not being certified.
Right. And you know, it's funny. You know, Kanye was trying to tell us about this in 2004 with the college dropout.
Before he lost time.
Yeah, before he lost his mind. Rest in peace to his mother. But yeah, Kanye had these skits. I believe it was on the first album.
College Dropout.
And he was talking about how this guy's dad, like, he never worked, but he went to college and had like, you know, 6 or 7 degrees, and then he ended up dying and left his son nothing. And his son's like, well, you know, I might not have such, but at least I have these degrees to keep me warm.
I'm a master's, and then my master's, and then my master's.
Right. So, our debt certificates, that's what I call them, debt certificates or pieces of debt paper, because that's really all they are. That's really all they are. It's a piece of debt attached to a piece of paper. It's a debt note. This piece of paper lets us know that you're in debt. Well, before you even start your career, you in debt. Is it worth? I would say, is it worth the time and money?
Hell no.
For most, we're not going to make blanket statements. For most, no, it's definitely not worth the time and money. And it's funny because that very same friend who told me, like, well, you know, I'm not in my field, but that college degree helped me to get to where I am. That I seriously doubt, because no disrespect for him, no disrespect to him, but he has that good old fashioned Negro mentality. Work yourself up through the ranks and retire in 30 years with a good job and a good pension from a good white man. He's got that mentality.
I just asked, I don't think my question ever got answered. And I just asked, and out of respect for you, and plus I didn't feel like it, I didn't want to go back and forth. I just asked, I said, hey, you know, does your job or what you're doing, you know, how are you implementing that into the community? And he was like, oh, well, my job we do events for this and this and that. No, what did you go to school for? What you go to school for? How is that bettering your community?
We didn't say nothing about Anheuser-Busch.
Aside from Anheuser-Busch, and there's nothing wrong with the activism in regard to what companies do. Okay, great, but at the end of the day, just like my company does, the company that I work for, they get that money back in regards to like tax write-offs and stuff like that. So you give it back, but you still getting that money back. But that's a whole other conversation. What is your job and what did you go to school for? How is that giving back to the community? Prime example, I got a friend who's going to school to be a pharmacist. She's going to open a pharmacy in the Black community. So how or what are you doing? Is that a part of your community? Not for what your job does. Just saying.
Exactly. And he was also, oh, well, I learned at 4 that the world was unfair and I just got to pull myself up by my bootstraps and you can too. Like,
congratulations.
It's not that simple. Besides, he was afforded a good life. Both of his parents were in his life. His mom is a stenographer. I forget what the hell his dad does, but he makes decent money. And I think his brother's a cop. So you were afforded a decent lifestyle. Decent education through the Hazelwood school system. Everybody can't say the same. Again, how is helping your community? And they never could answer. And so it's like, okay, well, are you saying that college doesn't matter? Like, no, nobody's saying that college doesn't matter. But, again, quoting the great late ancestor Carter G. Woodson in The Miseducation of the Negro, he outlines how the most educated among us are the most indoctrinated. And it's not even education. Because he kept trying to throw that up in my face too. Well, are you against higher education?
That's the whole point.
I'm like, no. You're not getting educated. Educate means to bring out of ignorance. And I gave him the definition a good 2 or 3 times. You see, it's just like, I was telling you the other day, Rebecca, when I do lessons or lectures, I lecture, at my home church from time to time.
Okay.
And the last time I did a lecture, it's called When Good Men Sit Instead of Stand. I think it's an awesome lesson. I want to upload it so bad. But due to circumstances and situations, I will not upload them at this time. But hopefully in the future, I can get some of these lessons uploaded. Because it's just like the white man could use the Bible to tell you that slaves are supposed to obey your earthly masters. I could use that very same Bible to teach you that the revolution will not be televised, and unless you fight, ain't nothing gonna happen. And that kind of goes into the whole gun control thing, but that's something for a little bit later. Because I was having this conversation with Jessica, well, part of a conversation with Jessica, and I said, even Jesus said to grab your sword. And he said, if you don't have a sword, sell your tunic to get you one.
Wasn't no punk.
So Jesus was really about protecting himself, if Jesus was real. But we're just talking about the story here. So that same Bible that the white man uses to oppress you, I can use it to uplift you and energize you. So what I did, I took my church family through a walk through the Webster's White Man's Dictionary, as Rebecca calls it. And I specifically made a point to say, I want us to walk through the dictionary, because a lot of times we read stuff and we see a word or two we don't understand, and instead of stopping to look up the definition, we'll just roll right past it, and then you might miss out on the whole context of the paragraph.
True.
So I wanted it to be important with the lesson that we're dealing with to take a walk through the Webster's White Man's Dictionary so the family can have an understanding of what's going on. You know, so, like I say that to say this. I kept telling him, like, hey, you're not educated. Well, higher education, you're not educated. Educate means to bring out of ignorance. And a lot of college graduates I know are ignorant as that deal. And ignorance means you don't know. It doesn't mean you're stupid. Ignorance means you don't know. I can tell you beyond a shadow of a doubt that a lot of college graduates are dumb as hell. Oh, they smart in their field. They smart in their field. Prime example. I was working in Express Scripts Building 1, right off of Hanley and 70.
I used to work there too.
Right. Shout out to Express Scripts, or not. But the building Express Scripts, it is a tiered building. And a tier is just basically a catwalk. So the whole center of the building has tiers. It's not enclosed. So you can see from the third floor straight down to the basement. You can see up here, down here, and you can see down here to up there. So I was standing on the second floor. I was gonna start sweeping so I can scrub the floor and buff it. And I was seeing this Indian guy come out of the wing, come out of one of the corridors. And I seen him, and he's standing over the railing, and he's talking to some guy. Well, that guy just so happens to be the pizza man. Now, again, I've never been to college, but my eyes work just fine. I seen the pizza man when he came in on the first floor. Now, you would think that you would know what floor you're on because, one, there's no exits on the second floor. There's no security guard desk. There's no turnstiles. There's no cafeteria. So, obviously, you're on another floor. But anyway, I watched this Indian cat argue with the pizza man about 5 minutes about what floor he was on. Now, mind you, this dude probably has a master's degree in pharmaceutical mathematics. He could probably break down the square root of pi and whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop and build you a whole city out of aluminum foil and have lights in that bitch and running water and all type of stuff. But this nigga could not figure out what floor he was on. And I'm looking at him, and I'm looking at the pizza man, and the pizza man's like, hello, I'm here. And the guy's like, no. I am on the first floor. I am on the first floor. And the pizza man's like, no, I'm on the first floor. And I'm watching this whole thing go down. And then finally, the Indian cat looked down and was like, oh, well, apparently I'm not on the first floor. And I was just like, wow. And at that moment, I finally realized the old adage or the old saying is true. The smarter you are, the dumber you get. Because book smarts without street smarts is smart dummy. If all you have is book smarts and you don't have no street smarts, you a dummy. If all you have is street smarts, then book smarts, then you ain't no dummy, because the streets gonna teach you a whole hell of a lot more than them books. That's why people like Jay-Z are so successful. That's like people like 2 Chainz are so successful. That's like people like T.I. and Jeezy are so successful. When you come from the streets and you involved in illicit activities where your life could be ended at any moment, that does something to a nigga. That's why Jay-Z can walk into a boardroom, I want boom, 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 X, Y, and Z, and I want it now. And he will pretty much get everything he wants. if not everything he wants, because he's used to negotiating with niggas on the street. So when he put on a suit and tie or whatever and walk into a boardroom, he gets what he wants. So the most benefits that college has really is meeting your soulmate. Maybe some lifelong friends and your soulmate, and do a whole lot of fucking and sucking. That's pretty much what college is there for. College is there for you to sow your seeds and get all your sucking and fucking out your system, and possibly find the one who you are to be married with the rest of your life. It's pretty much all college is. Should we go to college? I think some people should go to college. I think teachers should go to college. Doctors should go to college. I think lawyers should go to college. I think a lot of people should go to college. But is college your only option? No. And if you do go to college, how are you going to parlay that degree into helping better your community? It's like we had a woman who started coming to our services last year, and I mean, she stopped coming for whatever reason. But she was a young black doctor. She was in her probably late 20s, early 30s. I think her and her husband both were doctors. And she says one Sunday, she says, you know, I've been thinking, and I've been having this feeling, you know, this heaviness on my heart that I want to do something, woo, woo, woo. And now I feel like that message has me a clear understanding. She's like, I really want to open a clinic in the inner city, for black people and, you know, people of color. And I'd like to do it like 2 days a week when I'm off work, and then I work at the hospital, and then I'll just volunteer my time at the clinic. That's how you do that. You parlay your degree to help your community. When the Jews take their kids and they sit down, Jews, Asians, it's pretty much everybody but black people. I don't know if the white community does this, but I know Jews and Asians definitely do this. They'll sit down. Okay, son, daughter, what do you want to go to school for? Because they like, you going to college. What are you going to college for? And they gonna sit down and you're gonna be like, well, I want to go to college to do this. They're gonna be like, no. But why? Because that ain't gonna benefit the community. They'll tell you flat out, no. We need you to be an accountant. That's what we need you to do. We need you to be an accountant.
Yep.
We need you to be a lawyer. That's gonna benefit our community. We need you to be a doctor. This, whatever it is that you're choosing, is not gonna help our community.
Yep.
So okay, let's send our kids to college and make sure what education they get, they can bring it back to the community. They make sure that before you even start looking at colleges. How can you use this to benefit us? And they keep everything internalized in their community. And they stand together. So college can be worth it if you can parlay that college degree and some street smarts and funnel that into your community. I'm all for it. But do you necessarily